All right, inverse, converse, and contrapositive. In this one I didn't really give you definitions because I felt like just having the statements up here was enough for you to get that. So if your original statement is if P then Q, which all the ones we're going to do today are if and then statements at some point at least. The inverse, notice we've got our symbol for not. So if not P, then not Q. The converse is switching around the original statement, so if Q, then P. And the contrapositive, the way I remember that one is it's the biggest, so we do everything. So we switch the order around and we make it opposite. So if not Q, then not P. All right, so write the inverse, converse, and contrapositive of the following and then give its truth value. So our book seems to always ask you to do inverse first, but do make sure you get those two down, inverse and converse, because it may not necessarily always be given to you in that order. So our original statement is if it is 8 p.m., then the sun has already set. So the inverse, we're just going to make those two statements opposite. So if it is not 8 p.m., then the sun has not already set. Now, it also asks us to give the truth value there. So in this case, that statement would be false. So if it's not 8 p.m., let's say it's 6 p.m., because 6 p.m. would not be 8 p.m. Then the sun has not already, well, okay, 6 p.m. is a bad example. Let's say that it is 10 p.m. So if it is 10 p.m., which is not 8 p.m., then the sun would have already set. So we'll say if it is 10 p.m., then the sun would have set. Just don't quite have room for the word already, but it would have already set. Okay. Converse. So we're going to flip the order around. So if the sun has already set, then it is 8 p.m. Of course, that's a pretty similar true-false statement there. That's going to be false. So let's say that the sun has already set. It could be 10 p.m., like we said. So we'll just say it could have set, it meaning the sun, and it be 10 p.m. or 12 p.m. or, whatever time there you want to do. Okay. And last one, contrapositive. So contrapositive, again, we're going to do everything. So we're going to switch the order around and make it opposite. So we can just actually make our converse opposite if you want to do that. So if the sun has not already set, then it is not 8 p.m. Okay, so the sun has not already set, and it's not 8 p.m. Well, any place that I know of, if it's 8 p.m., the sun has already set, so this one would be true. That doesn't look like the word true. True, because the sun would have already, sorry, that's sloppy, would have already set at 8 p.m. Okay. I've got a new panel and it's a little bit harder to write on than my other panel was. Have already set at 8 p.m. Okay. All right. So now we're back to our symbols. We're going to write the inverse, the converse, and the contrapositive of the following. So the inverse, just as a reminder, the inverse is going to be where we make it opposite. The converse is where we switch. And the contrapositive is when we do both. Okay, so P then Q. The opposite of that is going to be, let me switch my pen here. That's going to be not P, not Q. Converse, switch the original order around. So Q and P. And then contrapositive, do both. And there we are. Now that actually happens to be what's on your notes on the front, but I still thought that might be useful for us to do. So, okay. Inverse of the next one, we're doing opposites. So not P and actually Q. We're going to do the opposite. So the opposite of not Q is Q. Converse, switch around the original. And contrapositive, make them both opposite. So Q and not P. Just checking my notes here to make sure I've got the right thing written down, and we're good. Okay, the next one, when I first saw this one, I was a little confused by how we might do this, but you're thinking of this as just one statement here. So when we make it opposite, we're just going to put a negative out in the front, and when we switch it, we'll switch that entire expression to the end of the arrow sign there. Okay, so my inverse is going to be not P disjunction Q. Had to think for a minute. That's my disjunction symbol. I want to just double check before I... Yep, disjunction. And then not P. Converse, switch it around. P and P disjunction Q. And then contrapositive, make it opposite. Not P disjunction Q. All right. One more here. We're going to write down the words in words the meaning of not Q. If not Q, then not P. So P is it is raining, and Q is I will bring an umbrella. So the answer is going to be if I will not bring an umbrella. Now I know that sounds kind of weird, but just go with it. Need that to be plural there. If I will not bring an umbrella, then it is not raining. Okay. Now complete the truth table below. I don't really necessarily know if it's raining. I don't necessarily know if I will bring an umbrella. So we do just like what we did before. We do all the different possibilities. So it could be they're both true. Could be one's true, one is false. Could be they're both false. So if I want to actually test out this value here, then my not P is going to be false, false, true, true. My not Q is going to be false, true, false, true. And then according to your truth table, if you go back and look at that from yesterday, the only time that this is going to be false is when I go from a true to false. So true, we'll just say true, false is false. Everything else is true. And again, I'm just getting that off the truth table. So we're going backwards, though. Okay, we're going in this direction. So I'm looking for a true to false. And that is going to happen here, right here. Because we're doing, again, going in the opposite direction, true to false. So this one is true, a false, false. False to true would be true, and a true to true would be true. And there you are.